I read a piece that you wrote, I think, not too long ago about the family. They had a little girl. It was two lesbians with a little girl, and they weren't permitted to be part of it.
That was in Boulder, Colorado. The Catholic school they put the kid in said, we're not going to re-enroll the kid because we disapprove of the way you conduct your life. And I was happy that the kid got expelled, because maybe the kid has a chance now. They can be put into a place without discrimination that doesn't eventually make part of the curriculum to exclude people like homosexuals. And homosexuality happens all over the world. I'm sure there's gay people who are Catholics. How do they reconcile that? How do they reconcile that their religion doesn't, at some point in the paperwork, doesn't like them?
Yeah.
And I'm making a great distinction between a homosexual and a pedophile. They're two different species. And so there's a gray area with the Catholic Church, Inc., not Catholics,
right.
but you know, the machinery, they seem to don't like the gay, but there's an odd gray area with their policy with pedophilia.
I love that piece, and I love that it just flips, you know, because most people are thinking, well, how do we get them in? And your piece immediately was, why get in? Don't go in.
Why get in? In fact, why don't you leave? Why don't you run and find a God who likes you?
Yeah. You know, the gay marriage thing falls into the same thing. That marriage itself hasn't worked so great that maybe the gays shouldn't think, how can we just make this better, rather than ask to be in this club?
Yeah, I love the idea of a civil union. Like, you see all these religions, they don't want you.
Yeah.
Like, why would you go to a party where everyone's like, oh, he's here, what a drag.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you go elsewhere? I wouldn't want to show up to a place I wasn't wanted. I wouldn't want to be the round or the square peg ramming myself into that round hole. I'd go elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, oh, because you're a coward. No, because these people are drag. Oh, what's it? Those awful people with their signs. God hates fags.
Oh yeah, Westboro Catholic.
Well, then find a
Baptist
different.
Church.
You know, well, they're out of their minds, and they don't speak of Christianity as in a broader brush. But when you encounter that kind of hatred, man, leave.
Yeah.
I think that school, the preschool, did those parents a favor.
It really is a great point, and also you could limit everything. If it wasn't for Studio 54 saying, no, we're not letting bands in, you probably wouldn't have had CBGBs that sometimes you need that thing to say, we're not going to be part of.
Or
make something better.
A proper reaction to it. I don't necessarily think we need, like, you need a war for people to dig peace. Well, I don't want to slaughter 30,000 people to come up with the idea that peace is a good idea. But when something is bad, like something like Studio 54, like, okay, no live bands. Well, someone came up with a good idea. Instead of going, oh, no live band, they went, wait a minute, let's do a thing over here. Yeah. And all of a sudden you've got CBGBs, which is, you know, benefit all of us.
Yeah.
So good things happen when the sand gets in the oyster's eye. Every once in a while you get a pearl.
Yeah.
So.
And not everybody's going to catch on.
No.
And you have to see this with, you know, your life work, that as much time as you're talking about some of this stuff, it's not going to sink through to everybody.
Of course not, and you're not going to get what you want. And some things that might seem utopian and impossible probably would be an unmitigated disaster. Like, what if we took the Iraq war budget and devoted it to America's young people in the form of higher grades of education in this country? You would get probably very, very quickly, what if, like, you gave Texas millions and millions and millions of dollars as a government subsidy for education? They would with more speed redo all their history books, as they seem to be doing now, eliminating Thomas Jefferson like he's some bad guy and putting in someone else, like, you know, John Calvin. And if you gave them a bigger budget, they would do it quicker with a greater scrubber. And so you might as well, you could very well have whole states turning into creationism. Darwin, who? Oh, that infidel? And so as things could get possibly better, they might turn around and it might get incredibly worse. And so, but then what do you have? You have a country that's 46 in literacy and a school system that's not all that enviable. So what do you do? And therein lies my frustration.
Sure. And it just tacks back and forth. It's just going to be constantly going back and forth. There's a great piece right now with Glenn Beck on his radio show where he did not get what he got through. He didn't understand that this land is your land, what it was about. He didn't even get born in the USA by Springsteen. And it only has been very recently that he found out that he was singing along with these songs without understanding the lyrics at all. He just heard USA and felt happy, and this land is your land and felt patriotic. But it does seem, in terms of the arts, that even banging people over the heads with stuff is not enough sometimes.
Well, I think in this country we are somewhat information deprived by our media, which is, by and large is the corporate media. So of course they're going to be denying global change, global climate change, because they're down with the oil companies. The second largest Fox News stockholder is a Saudi oil guy, and so you think they're going to say that global climate change is anything but a hoax? And as far as Glenn Beck and this land is your land, you know, if you really listen to the lyric and you hear the way Guthrie phrases it, it's a cautionary tale. It's a warning. Like don't forget, this land is my land. You don't get it all.
Right.
It's not like a big, inclusive, huggy, Shangri-La, kumbaya moment. It's like, hey, man, don't think you're taking it all. Don't ever forget that it's my land, too. I'm the one you look down on. Yeah, I got rights, too. And, you know, he wrote it on a cold winter in America, I think on a train going east. Yeah, so... I think he wrote it in response to what's her name singing "God Bless America."
God Bless America. Yeah.
Yeah, and he said, "Nah, lady, come on. You're like, don't forget the Constitution and what our ancestors bled out of the mouth for."
All right, Henry Rollins, such a pleasure to see you again, my friend. The tour goes on. He stays on the road. This is the frequent flyer tour, and you are traveling all through. America, henryrollins.com.
That always finds me.
To check out. Great to see you again, my friend.
Thank you, sir.